Hi, everyone. Welcome to our webinar. My name is Chengan Yuan, Assistant Professor of Special Education and Applied Behavior Analysis, and my colleague here,
Juliet Hart Barnett, Professor of Special Education here in the Mary Lou Fulton Teachers College at ASU with my wonderful colleague, Chengan Yuan. And we're here today to talk a little bit about our article published in Teaching Exceptional Children called Developing Quality IEP Goals in the Age of
Artificial Intelligence.
Yes.
First, let's explore how technology, including generative AI, is shaping special education to better support individualized learning. Technology has become essential for supporting diverse needs of the students in special education, enabling teachers to customize instruction based on each student's unique strengths and needs. Online platforms, specialized software, and digital tools make it easier to engage students through interactive content and offer alternative ways to approach curriculum. In recent years, electronic IEPs have significantly improved the process. These electronic IEPs streamline documentation by letting teachers select details like dates, student demographics, and even goals from a comprehensive database. And recent advancement in generative AI tools based on large language models, such as ChatGPT, Gemini, and Copilot, are unlocking even new possibilities. These tools can help draft educational materials, including various IEP components, such as goals tailored to each student's needs. We will discuss IEP goal quality and how these generative AI tools can assist in generating quality IEP goals.
Now I'm going to talk about quality IEP goals. In recent years, court rulings like the Andrew case have raised the bar for student achievement in their IEPs, emphasizing that these annual goals need to be measurable and provide students with meaningful learning benefits. An annual IEP goal is a targeted, time-limited objective designed to guide a student's progress from their current level of performance to a higher level over a year. These goals address needs that stem from the student's disability, helping them to advance in the general education curriculum, such as achieving grade level math or improve in other areas influenced by their disability, like social skills or communication. Each IEP goal should incorporate these essential elements: the learner, the specific behavior or skill, conditions for that behavior, the criterion for success, and a time frame for meeting that criterion. Goals should build on the student's present level of functioning and align with the educational standards for their grade. But an effective IEP goal also follows the SMART framework. That is, it should be S, specific, defining the exact outcome. It should be M, measurable, so that progress can be tracked. It should be A, achievable, given the resources and the given time frame. R, it should be relevant, focusing on the student's individual needs. And finally, it should be T, time-bound, with a clear deadline for achievement. However, research has shown us that many IEPs really do fall short. They're lacking individualized details, or they're failing to set high expectations for students. So by applying the SMART criteria and best practices, we can improve IEP quality, thereby ensuring the goals that support students' academic and functional growth. For additional guidance on writing high-quality IEP goals, consider exploring the IRIS Center module. That link is provided in the slide. It's a wonderful resource that provides a practical how-to for crafting effective IEPs that meet today's standards.
Now let's talk about how to draft IEP goals with AI tools and what are the best practices. In our article, we listed 6 tactics or strategies that could improve AI output. Although these strategies were specifically taken from OpenAI's guidelines, you can also apply them to similar generative AI tools as well, such as Gemini and Copilot. The first tactic is the clarity in prompts. When you give the AI tool a prompt, it bases its response on patterns from training data. If the prompt lacks detail, the model will often make broad guesses leading to vague responses. However, by including specifics like a student's needs, current abilities, and target skill areas alongside standards like SMART framework, the model can create more accurate, tailored goals. For instance, instead of a general instruction like generate an IEP goal for a student with ASD in reading, a stronger prompt would detail the student's characteristics, skill level, and needs, aligning the goal with specific standards you want to use, such as the example in the table in the slide. Generate an SMART IEP goal in reading comprehension for a first grade 6-year-old student with autism who is struggling with reading comprehension. The student's strengths include letter word recognition and the ability to read common words and simple sentences. The second strategy is providing reference text. AI may not be familiar with all educational standards or specialized criteria. Without this information, it might produce plausible sounding but incorrect goals. To ensure accuracy, you should include details about local and state standards or other quality benchmarks. For example, you might want to reference SMART when creating IEP goals. Or if you're creating a reading comprehension goal, you might want to reference Common Core standards. The third strategy is to break down complex goals into simpler subtasks. Suppose you're working on a reading goal for a first grader. You could break this into subtasks like decoding, fluency, comprehension, and vocabulary. Each subtask then becomes its own prompt, helping AI generate focused, relevant goals. Related to the third strategy, the fourth strategy is to allow AI some thinking time through multiple queries or prompts, as it can also improve the quality of generated IEP goals. Instead of expecting a fully formed goal from one prompt, consider guiding the model step by step. For example, we can sequence the prompts using SMART framework. Start with identifying specific skills, then move to measure for tracking progress, a realistic, achievable improvement level, and finally, an appropriate time frame. The final prompt can then ask the model to combine and explain all responses into a smart IEP goal. We have placed all these queries to the right in the slide. Next, using external tools or data alongside AI can be very helpful. You might refer to databases of academic standards, goal banks, or guidelines for services like behavioral or speech therapy. These resources provide additional context and help AI generate goals that meet educational and service standards. On the screen, you will see a demonstration of using ChatGPT to generate IEP goals. We have already entered prompts into ChatGPT using GPT-4o. We have included a link in the slide to our inputs and ChatGPT outputs. You can open the link to take a look. Now, I will walk you through some of the prompts and ChatGPT's responses to demonstrate how to use the model to generate smart IEP goals based on the strategies we just discussed. As I mentioned, the first strategy is crafting clear prompts. The more detailed the prompt is, the more specific and accurate the response will be. Here we begin by entering essential information about a student James, and then ask the model to identify skills for improvements. By providing details about James' current skills and needs, we gave the AI model a solid foundation to work from, and it responded by identifying specific areas to target in his IEP. As you can see, ChatGPT highlighted uh, communication, social, adaptive, and behavioral regulation areas for James's IEP. It even broke each area down into smaller skill units or subtasks. In the social domain, ChatGPT identified two skills: peer interaction and initiation. Second, because writing a complete IEP goal is complex, we also guided the AI models through the SMART framework in stages. We used separate prompts, just like the prompts we showed you in the previous table in the last slide. We first asked the model to identify specific skills in the first prompt. Then in the second prompt, we asked the model to identify appropriate measurement. In the third prompt, we asked the model to identify a realistic and achievable level of improvement, so a realistic goal. And in the fourth prompt, we asked ChatGPT to identify an appropriate time frame for each skill. This step-by-step approach allows the model to carefully think and provide answers for each component of the SMART framework before forming the goals. And this step-by-step guidance can result in a more cohesive and precise goal than if we had asked for a fully formed IEP goal in a single prompt. Even though we didn't fully break down the tasks into subtasks because the model already did this, this approach might be needed if your model's initial response is too general. We also use reference text to improve accuracy. In the last prompt, we specifically mentioned the SMART framework, helping the model generate goals aligned with it. For teacher needing goals based on other specific standards such as Common Core or social emotional benchmarks, adding that information directly to the prompt might guide the model to create goals consistent with those standards. Now, we didn't use the sixth query or prompt in our table in the previous slide because the current model, GPT-4o, provided explanations here on how each goal aligns with the SMART framework. The previous model didn't do this. So if your AI model does not explain each component's relevance, it might be helpful to ask the model for this clarification to ensure the SMART framework is followed. Finally, although we didn't use external tools in this example, they can be helpful for IEP goal writing. If you need goals aligned with specific standards, you can have them incorporated into your prompts. For instance, if your AI model doesn't recognize Common Core standards, they can be included directly in the prompt to ensure compliance with educational standards and best practices.
Our last strategy is systematic testing. In our opinion, this may be in fact the most important consideration to ensuring the quality and relevance of each AI-generated goal. Just as with teacher-developed goals, IEP teams should be very careful to review the AI-generated goals to confirm that they meet SMART criteria, that they align with local and state standards, and that they're suitable for the student's current abilities and needs. To make this process thorough, we recommend establishing a set of evaluation criteria. Beyond the SMART standards, these criteria should include a positive orientation, alignment with the present level of performance statement, and a strengths-based approach, as outlined in the best practice literature. In fact, we've attached a user-friendly checklist for these essential elements to the right of the slide. It's also important to note that while the AI tool may embed the SMART components in the goals, it lacks detailed knowledge of all of the relevant standards, technical details, and context-specific information like available resources or settings. Therefore, during their review, IEP teams should work collaboratively to address any missing or inaccurate information and provide the AI tool with reference texts related to these standards and details. Since educational standards evolve, staying current with practices is really essential. Teams should also consider the feasibility of the goals, given the resources available in their schools and classrooms. Through an iterative review process, teams can refine these goals by asking targeted questions and providing additional guidance, helping the model create more individualized, high-quality IEP goals tailored to each student's unique needs. By applying these strategies, special educators can make AI a useful tool in generating meaningful and effective IEP goals. So, what have we learned? Using AI tools to help us generate IEP goals is not without its unique challenges. In fact, creating IEP goals is really complex and it's highly individualized of a process. So it requires comprehensive assessments and lots of specialized support.
Right.
Each goal has to be aligned with the student's unique strengths and needs and the state standards,
Yeah.
don't forget, as well as IDEA mandates that mandate meaningful collaboration with families and the multidisciplinary team. So this makes it unlikely that any single teacher alone, any single teacher's input could really alone generate the fully customized, relevant IEP goals.
Totally agree. Yeah. And also remember, AI-generated goals are also carrying a risk of bias due to algorithm. Because AI models are trained on historical data, they may unintentionally replicate these biases related to identity categories like race, gender, and socioeconomic status. This could impact the equity of special education programs.
Absolutely.
Making human oversight that Julia just talked about critical in reviewing and refining these goals.
Absolutely. And we also have to keep in mind that educators need this anti-bias training so that they can recognize those potential biases you just talked about.
Absolutely.
And they can reinforce those culturally responsive practices in special education. When we're using AI-generated IEP goals, teams should view them just as drafts, really involving all of those stakeholders, the family, the multidisciplinary team,
even the student.
Yeah. In order to refine and finalize those goals will ensure accuracy, relevance,
and inclusivity.
And
also to enhance AI's effectiveness, educators need to refine input prompts. This is a process called prompt engineering. You might have heard about it. Effective prompts help communicate your intent clearly to the AI, resulting in better aligned outputs. And if you're unfamiliar with this process, you might benefit from developing your skills in prompt crafting.
Yes, I'm still working on the prompt crafting, but also think about data privacy. That's one of the priorities that we talk about quite a bit. The AI tools often require student data as their input. So this is going to include
some personal information.
Absolutely.
Remember in our demonstration, we had to put James' information in a prompt.
Right.
Yeah. So their information on academic and behavioral performance. So to safeguard this data, you should think about anonymizing these data. And of course, you have to seek guardian consent.
Parental consent.
If you want to use student data, and only use what's essential, what is necessary. Monitoring the data policies of AI providers, such as OpenAI, also helps ensure compliance with federal and state privacy regulations.
Very important. But we also have to acknowledge we're just beginning here. We really have to acknowledge that there is limited research on AI in special education. In education generally, it's growing, but it's limited in special education. So we need future studies, including large-scale surveys, intervention research.
Absolutely.
These are going to be vital to understanding the potential for AI and to guide our improvements, as well as ensure these applications have good application in special ed that actually meets our high standards for quality and social validity.
Absolutely. So to sum up, AI holds great potential in special education, from streamlining IEP goals to tailoring them.
Yeah.
It provides tools that, when used thoughtfully, can save your time and enhance goal precision. However, we want to re-emphasize that the AI-generated goals are just drafts. Human oversight is needed to ensure these goals truly meet each student's unique needs and comply with various educational standards.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.